Hi, Devon. Thank you so much for chatting with me today. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Great. I'm so happy that you are on the air with us today. Your band, Half Moon Run, has a new album called Salt. What was it like putting that album together? How did it come together?
Well, we have thousands of two-track demos over the years that we've made, and we kind of whittled it down to, I don't know, 50 or 80. The number gets bigger every time I tell the story, and we sent it to our producer, Connor Seidel, and he flagged some ones that he thought he had potential, about 20 or 25, and we went into the studio and we tracked those for real, and then
Mm,
of those, only about 11 or 14 or something worked out, and so we put out this record which has 11 songs on it.
that's incredible. So, when it comes to creating all the demos, like, are you the main songwriter? Where does all this material come from?
Sometimes it can be anybody who comes up with a seed idea. Often it's me. I'll have a couple of parts and maybe a melodic vocal idea. We'll work on it for a while, and then hopefully we get something that's worth hitting record on the two track. And then we'll revisit it later that night or the next day, and we'll listen back. Maybe we'll go back into jam and look at it again. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes.
Wow. And, in terms of like your artistic practice as a band, are you like, okay, Tuesdays at 3 p.m., that's when we rehearse and we record whatever we've got and then we work on it? Like, or is it just more of like you wait until you've got a bunch of stuff and then you get together?
We have found that the only constant is change
Right.
when it comes to creating. You can't replicate. We've been like, oh, having a fixed schedule has been so good last week. Let's do it again.
Right.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Doesn't work next week, you know? So
Yeah.
you have to, the muse inside all of us likes constant change and new things all the time. So you have to keep trying it from different angles and just keep it fresh, really. There's no secret for us.
Yeah. Incredible. That's very inspiring. You have a big tour coming up in the fall, heading to Europe. Have you done a lot of traveling and touring in Europe?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Ah,
That was instead of trying to break the big US market,
yeah.
we just said, why don't we just go to Europe? Because especially in Quebec, we have a strong connection with France, obviously.
Yes.
The cultural lines stretch over there much more than they stretch south. We spent like our first European tour was all over France. We did like 33 shows in 30 days. I often say like I was there in Paris like 12 or 13 times before I actually saw the Eiffel Tower
Oh my
because we're
gosh.
so busy all the
Yes.
time. But yeah, we've been there a bunch. Love it.
That's awesome. I remember the first time that I toured in Paris or like in France, it was so busy. There's like, touring, you don't really get to see much. And we were driving past the Eiffel Tower, leaving Paris, and I was like, "Oh my God, the Eiffel Tower." And I took my phone through the van window and it was just like chunk. And so I had this like half like slanted. It's great.
But see, that's a great photo because it gives you so much more memory than just a straight tourist photo of the Eiffel Tower. You remember
Yes.
why you've got this weird oblique angle. And
Yeah,
I've got
exactly.
the same type of photo of Mount Rushmore, actually. Yeah.
It's perfect. Yeah. Yeah. As a Canadian band, many bands have cut their teeth touring back and forth across Canada. How many times have you driven across Canada?
Oh, I can't even, I don't even remember. And it's not, let's just say, there's, it's not the most memorable drive. It's at
For
certain
sure.
points.
Yeah.
I mean, getting west of Edmonton, you're like, oh, there we go. But like, around Thunder Bay, or like the Winnipeg, that 800-kilometer stretch. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Many, many, many times. We've done Houston to Montreal straight
Wow.
twice,
Wow.
32 to 36 hours. That's a good one. And the temperature really changes. You can feel it, especially in the fall.
Mm.
Yeah, we've done some serious hauls.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're still a band, which is, I always think is miraculous. Like that Ontario Shield can really make or break a band. And it sounds like you've all
A lot of time
survived.
together.
Yes. Yeah.
We like to think we're great at communicating because that's what keeps it alive. It's like a marriage slash brotherhood slash
Yeah. Yeah, and then some. That's perfect. Any plans to come out west to Alberta and BC?
Yeah, we'll be out there this fall.
Oh,
And don't ask me the dates,
I will
but they're
not.
they're out there.
Okay, great. So,
Yeah, November I think ish.
okay,
And yeah, we'll be in Vancouver and Victoria and Edmonton and Calgary.
beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so folks can go to your website, which is
Halfmoon.run.
oh, halfmoon dot
Yeah.
run. Okay,
Yeah.
love that. I would love to play a track from the album. Can you pick a song and tell our listeners a little bit about it?
Let's try 9 beat.
Nine beat.
This one is called 9 beat because it's got 9 beats per bar. And that's very strange in Western music. It might sound a little odd, but we very much like it. I had 104 two-track recordings of this one. We just couldn't make it work for years and years, for 7 or 8 years. And then
Wow.
finally, we cracked the code.
Wow. What was the missing key that unlocked the music?
Just enough time away from it, I guess, and some help from the producer just having passion about it. But we kept hitting the same brick walls. And this was around the time that we broke through where we broke through with the song, I mean, that the curfew was going on here in Quebec, where we had
Yeah.
like 130 days of you couldn't be out between 8 p.m. and 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And so we would meet around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And the closer we got to the curfew, the hotter the jams would get.
Of course.
And we
Yeah.
would be like 7:42, and we're like, come on, one more, one more time around. And it was so good. And we're recording it and we're screaming because it's so good. I still have all those recordings. And then we'd race home on our bikes through the alleys, trying not to get caught by
Yeah.
the police. It was an exciting time.
Yeah, seriously, that's a great story. That's a great story. And I'd love to hear some of those iterations of that tune. That's so cool. Thank you for sharing that. We will definitely chat again. And I'm excited to catch your live show in the fall.
Oh, thanks so much for having us.
Yeah,
Neat.
you're welcome. All right, from the album Salt, which is number 13 on this week's Top 30 chart. Ooh, you just heard Devon Portielje talking about 9 Beat, which is a song that is in 9. You can practice counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here it is now on the rise.